If the last time you tried to make a change in your life, a routine change, especially if that change was some kind of physical exertion like jogging or lifting weights, you felt instead of the things that you were promised, like excitement, fun, a sense of accomplishment, pleasure, joy, ecstasy, if instead of all of those things you felt more along the lines of irritation, frustration, impatience, disgust, I don't like this, I don't want to do this, it doesn't feel good. If you felt those things instead, this video was made for you. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. I bought a new program the other day called, what's it called? Ultimate Edge by Tony Robbins. I'm sure you're familiar with Tony Robbins. If you've never heard of Ultimate Edge, I'd suggest you take a preview of what it is. You can find it like on his website and stuff. Ultimate Edge is supposedly the #1 most successful personal development program of all time. It's pretty incredible. Full disclosure, as kind of embarrassing as it is to admit this, I selfishly bought it perfectly expecting to consume what I could, get what I needed, and then refund it, because I'm kind of in a place right now, I'm feeling like kind of in scarcity, which is really bad, but I'm doing my best to escape from it. But I've gotten such tremendous value from this program that there's no way I'm going to do that. It won't happen, because I've gotten too much value and I would feel like a thief if I refunded it. And so anyway, the reason I bring up that program is there's this thing that he talks about in there called the Power Hour, or the Hour of Power, which is basically this thing that you do in the morning where you combine physical exertion, like maybe you start with a walk and then you kind of work yourself up to a light jog, with vocal exertion combined then with emotional exertion. So it's the physical activity combined with like an affirmation. I'm sure you've heard that word, but then because you're combining that affirmation with emotional ownership, emotional intensity, and you're really just like feeling it in your entire nervous system instead of just like kind of saying it out loud, it becomes an incantation. So it's physical, vocal, and emotional exertion, and that right in the beginning of the day, used with the right language, is like completely life transforming. The key, of course, is that it can't be a once in a while thing. It has to be an everyday thing, with the exception, of course, like you don't have to pressure yourself to do it every day. This is kind of like along the lines of the point I'm trying to make in this video. I tried this new activity a few days ago for the first time. And instead of getting the feelings that I was promised, and I'm not blaming Tony, like I own this, instead of feeling the feelings that I was expecting, I'll put it that way, like ecstasy, excitement, energy, fury, confidence, not fury in a bad way, like fury as in like, yes, I'm ready, like competitive assertiveness, and all of these things I was ready to feel. Instead, I felt my body naturally resisting this new motion of jogging. Like when I started breaking a sweat, I was irritated. I was literally irritated. At the same time, I was feeling good, like because I was owning the feeling of like, confidence and stuff like that, and I was saying the right thing. So it's kind of like I was feeling good and bad at the same time, if that's possible. I don't know if that's maybe just faulty in my memory, or just a way of my articulating. But the point is, that is so, like, it's strange, right? Because this physical exertion, like you've always heard, exercise, maybe it is the case that you are supposed to feel that like in the moment, but at least after the fact, you're supposed to feel good, right? Well, I didn't necessarily feel that way. I felt maybe a little bit more energized and awake, but I still felt a lingering kind of like, like my body was mad at me. My body was like mad at me for having gone on a jog, because it's not used to it. And that's the key that I want to get to here. Inertia.
Inertia, the tendency of a body to resist change in motion.
Inertia, as you just heard, is my body's resistance to the change in motion. Because I'm not used to physically exerting myself, that is where the irritation comes from. But the main point that I want to make to you here is, if you felt anything along the same lines, it is so key that you don't let that become the reason and become a story why you don't continue. Like, okay, well, that just means that working out is not for me. It's not for, it doesn't work for me. I didn't like it. You know, I don't know. You could say that same thing in probably a million different ways, but the bottom line is that's not true. It's just that you were feeling the resistance because you're not used to it. And if you give yourself time to get used to it and give yourself a little bit of a chance to feel the momentum build in you, I perfectly expect, just like with you, but also completely with myself, because I believe so much in it. I'm not allowing that initial irritation to sway me, because I 100% full-heartedly believe it's not going to be there for long. It's not going to be there forever. It's not even going to be there for long. But you say to me, okay, Xander, that's fine and dandy. But how? How do I get past the initial, like, anti-honeymoon phase where it's painful in the beginning? I don't like it because it's new and it's not comfortable, and it's not even be scary if it's not physical exertion. Maybe it's some other activity. It's not fun. It does not bring me joy. It doesn't bring me happiness. And so why am I doing it? How do I get over that initial phase where it feels like that? What I would say to you, my friend, is if you're anything like me, what you should do is take the pressure off. Lower the standard of what success is, which is kind of counter to another way you might be able to say, like, this whole life-changing attitude. You're supposed to raise your standards for yourself, right? Tony says that a lot. But when I say lower your standard, I'm not talking about not like go ahead and just settle for a mediocre life. I'm talking about your expectation of yourself for a new activity. Like this, for example, instead of demanding 1 hour and the perfect execution of like every part of that process in that hour from yourself, instead tell yourself right now, right after you get done watching this video, that tomorrow morning you're going to do 2 things. First of all, you're going to wake up and get out of bed right at your alarm. Don't think, don't give yourself a chance to second guess or hesitate. Just do it. Just get out of bed right away. The second thing is start moving. Get outside and just start with a light walk. That's all you need to do. And then everything else that I've talked about here, and between now and tomorrow morning, if you want to watch another video on Tony Robbins' Hour of Power and you want to kind of learn more about the incantations and stuff, you can have that in your back of your mind then when you do this in the morning. But don't pressure yourself with all of the rest of the activity. Just demand of yourself that initial core pivotal thing, okay? And you can apply this obviously to other areas of your life, where in order to build the momentum, you have to narrow, this is my advice anyway, you have to lessen that pressure on yourself as to what a win is. Because if you have to do the big kahuna in order to feel like you've won, then that big picture is what you're going to be imagining when it's first thing in the morning, you're trying to get the will to get out of bed. And when you have that big picture and it's all or nothing, you're going to choose to go back to bed. Whereas if it's just this, you just get out of bed and start walking, that's not that intimidating, right? And then once you start walking, because that's like inner momentum right in the inner of the day, you can see where I'm going, right? So that's what I encourage you to do. I hope you enjoyed my little my little rant here, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment what you thought about the whole idea and whether or not you plan to do an incantation. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it. And also, as far as leave me a comment. I'd also like to hear your thoughts on what kind of videos you want to see in the future. Okay, because I'm really trying to develop like the character of the channel. I'm not going niche, but I want to know like what kind of topics that I talk about resonate with you guys and which ones are not so helpful. All right, so leave me a comment of any kind of feedback, or at the very least, leave me a thumb up or down. Either way, you're letting me know how to change or what to continue with. So thanks guys, and I will see you next week.